An Alberta man's battle for gay rights will go to the Supreme Court of Canada. Delwin Vriend was fired from his teaching job 6 years ago because he's gay. He tried to have Alberta protect gays through legislation. But so far, the government has refused what Vriend calls his basic human rights. Rick Boguski reports.
Alberta is one of 2 provinces in Canada that doesn't give gays and lesbians legal protection to guard against discrimination. Delwin Vriend is hoping the Supreme Court will change that.
I think it's an important public and legal issue, let alone a private issue. And now the Supreme Court, of course, has agreed with that.
Vriend was fired from his teaching job at this Christian college in 1991 when the college found out he was gay.
Human Rights Commission, Judy speaking.
When Vriend turned to Alberta's Human Rights Commission, the commission said it couldn't investigate his complaint because Alberta's Human Rights Act doesn't protect people on the basis of their sexual orientation.
I think the human rights position is that it is discrimination. They've recommended it be put in.
So did the Court of Queen's Bench when in 1994 it ordered the Alberta government to include sexual orientation in its legislation. But the government appealed and won.
Also, if I recall correctly, some years ago, this came to the legislature, and it was rejected in the legislature. Now, the legislature, in my opinion, is paramount in this.
But this law professor believes the Constitution is what's paramount, and that's where she thinks the Alberta government may be fighting a losing battle.
There are disabling provisions in the Charter that say to the government, there are certain things you can't do. And so my view would be that they are vulnerable, that the government's position is vulnerable in this case.
Well, Canada's Charter of Rights clearly states that governments cannot create laws that discriminate against homosexuals. What the Supreme Court must decide is whether Alberta's inaction in this area, its failure to produce a law, counts as discrimination.
The people representing Delwin Vriend believe it does.
We have a provincial government that is spending our tax dollars to fight a case that is so incredibly wrong for them to be challenging this.
But the minister believes the government can't be blamed.
It is not us that is taking this further. It is an individual.
An individual who says, again just this week, he and his partner were refused an apartment because of their sexual orientation. Yet another case, he says, that proves a need for legislation protecting homosexuals from discrimination. Rick Boguski, CBC News, Edmonton.